Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're gonna dunk on Gen Z. Now we're gonna look at some articles talking about Gen Z, and we got a couple of things here. One of the ones that stood out to me though was Gen Z is apparently dating for food. They're not interested in anything beyond that. They just want a free meal. And then we're going to talk about this Verizon executive telling unemployed Gen Z they should just volunteer. They should just volunteer.
Okay, and as a mom, I'm going to tell you, don't do that. And the fact that they actually said that is so they can get cheap-ass labor, and that's BS. Don't do it.
And while those companies are out there saying, hey, just, take advantage of Gen Z, we don't want to work with Gen Z because they're ruining the workplace for everybody else. So this is why you're not getting paid, I guess. What the hell? Is like I'm
talking about how confusing it must be.
This is why I think a lot of people are just like noping out. They're just like, yeah, I can't win. So
you know what's going to happen? You're going to have a bunch of Gen Zs go and start their own thing and kick all your rears.
That is what I am secretly hoping happens. And we've talked about this in videos before, where I think because of the current macroeconomic headwinds and just the zeitgeist and all that, I could totally see Gen Z going their own way, becoming like the most entrepreneurial generation.
Right, and they're also used to the gig economy and a lot of the gig work stuff, and they're doing like 2 or 3 of those and then kicking all your butts because they were raised in an environment of the gig economy, but they also know how to do all this stuff a lot better than older people do. So,
boomers.
Well, yeah, millennials, Gen X included, and so they're more what's what I'm looking for? They're just better at it. They're faster at it. They're more efficient. That's
multitasking. I think they're good at multitasking because they're always that's because you're a boomer.
That's right. No, it's because I work too hard and never get days off. Anyway.
Well, so do they. So, well, it depends. Or they're the laziest people ever. This is why I'm getting mixed messages because it's not like I'm not seeing a blanket statement for Gen Z right now, because like with Gen X, it's like, oh, you're a bunch of slackers, and then millennials were a bunch of whiners.
Yeah, slackers were us, yes. But I'm thinking about Gen Z, and I know several because our kids are Gen Z and they're friends and stuff, and they do like a work-life balance. But the ones when they work, they work. Like I know they go in and they get it done. Yeah, and they work, so they're not like they're fluffing off or anything. They I know our son's one friend. He's like highly efficient at his job, and he's like beating all the records for getting it done. Our daughter's working right now, and she's kicking all kinds of rear end, even though she's still in school. So I don't think it's fair to say they're ruining the workplace or that they're all lazy. I think that's like you can't say all millennials are bad or all Gen X are bad, or you can't. It's just stupid. But anyway, definitely don't work for free. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get a woohoo if you do. Woohoo!
So check out our audio podcast over on Spotify and where else are we on? Apple and all the podcast platforms. Check it out if you just want to listen to us and don't actually look at us. Not that you're looking.
Well, you can't see us anyway, so whatever.
So, I don't want to look at your stupid bobbing cartoon avatars. All right, let's go. Let's go this one first. This is what kind of kicked it off for me was they're dating for dinner. And they're not alone. This is Gen Z.
Yeah, this one was weird. But I guess, no offense, but there's a lot of women have been accused of it for years. And a lot of women would say, I'm just going to go out with these guys just to get free food. And so it's not a new thing.
Well, then there are certain expectations. Unfortunately, that's not the way it should work. But this is coming from USA Today. It says, call it cold-hearted or cost-effective. But for Gen Z singles, a free dinner date beats another night of ramen or freezer aisle meals. With rent soaring, student loans looming, and job security feeling out of reach, Gen Z is carrying their financial anxiety into their dating lives. Nearly 1 in 3 Gen Z singles are going on dates just for the free meal.
Yeah, but if you're dating other Gen Zs, then they don't have money either. According to you, yeah.
Put your pennies together. You can buy a value meal or something. According to this new study from Intuit, the report titled "The Cuffing Economy" is another data point about how economic anxiety is reshaping young people's dating habits or decision date at all. Is this why a lot of people aren't dating anyway because they can't afford to date?
I think there's a lot of reasons. Like a lot of people say, and then millennials were doing this too. Like you couldn't afford a house, you couldn't afford to have kids, you can't afford to date. I mean, some of them work so many jobs and they're so busy hustling they don't have time to date. I think that the internet environment and after COVID, a lot of them just don't care about it. at this point. It is what it is. It's not as pressing. I don't think it's as pressing to that generation as it was to, other generations.
So this is Aja Evans, a licensed mental health counselor and financial therapist. You're broke. How does that make you feel? If you want to go on a date with somebody because you're interested in them and you're excited about them and you both talked about who's paying for the date, great, but do not go on dates and potentially lead people on.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Instead of calling it a booty call, they're calling it a foodie call.
Booty call. Okay, but at least booty calls don't end in STD or pregnancy.
Well,
you might get fatter, but you're not going to get pregnant.
Are you pregnant or are you just fat? Are
Fat.
foodie calls cold-hearted or cost-effective? There are plenty of tongue-in-cheek TikTok videos about singles setting up dates because they can't be bothered to meal prep or bragging about scoring free dates for food.
It's no different than girls going to bars just because guys will buy them drinks. This is not new. I mean, I'm not saying it's right, but girls, guys probably do it too, but girls I know have been doing it for years. I'm gonna go hang out in the bar. We're gonna go, bar crawl so that we can have guys buy us drinks. We're gonna dress like little tramps and then go get. It's not new.
Well, here they said a woman posted a video on TikTok and it was viewed more than a million times, and she took it down. But she once went on a dating app and had 16 dinner dates in a row after she ran out of money for food during college. Is this like the OnlyFans challenge where you have like 100 men, 1,000 men? How many guys?
It's a little bit different.
How many guys? And all you can eat buffet. How many guys?
If they're going to pay for dinner, and anything else, I wouldn't do it.
Wait, what?
I wouldn't do it.
Do we have to have another conversation after this episode?
I wouldn't do it. But I'm just saying, I guess I can see it. I personally like ramen, so I'd be like, yeah, ramen, okay. I don't see why that's a downside.
If it's the $20 a bowl ramen, the really good ramen, then yeah.
Oh, the really good ramen's good. No, I can make ramen. I can kick ass and make ramen, and I can't.
She can.
But I like the prepackaged ramen. My kids, they prefer it. They eat it all the time. You just throw what you want in it. It's great.
Well, you've actually bought me dinner before when we were dating, and
I did.
There were no expectations. I didn't.
Yeah, that's right. I had expectations. You just didn't. No kidding. No, I did.
I had expectations. You just wanted the free food.
I did buy you, and you bought me. It was just we did that all the time. That was just our thing. So
yeah, I didn't really. I don't know.
He didn't like it. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I didn't. I was.
But he knew it was going to make me mad if he didn't let me do it, so he just went along with it because my anger was much worse.
And
anyway,
I just ordered water.
That's when you learned there's French fries on salads in Pittsburgh area.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. So anyway, it said clients are talking about going on dates potentially for the free meal or already in a financially anxious position. So being able to experience going out to dinner or coffee or drinks makes it that feels fun and feels good, even though if they're not sure they're going to be interested in the person they're going out with. Actually, I would be concerned because I'd be like, hey, how much is this meal actually going to cost me?
Well, yeah, it's true. Because there has been cases where girls go out with a guy, and then I'm sure it happens the other way around, but I've seen the videos of the girls, and the guy's up and left because the girl shows up. There was one video, and the girl showed up, and she ordered like all these platters of oysters, all these expensive drinks, and everything else, and she just kept eating and eating and drinking and drinking, and then the bill was getting so ridiculous. He up and left her to pay her own damn bill. And I can't blame him because I'm like, there are limits, It's like these girls are like having a fit. If it's a first date, I won't go to like the Cheesecake Factory. I expect to go, I'm like, Cheesecake Factory sounds like a good time to me, man.
Yeah, Cheesecake Factory's,
I'm just like any of these restaurants, like I won't go here, I won't go there. And I'm like, I must be a cheap date because I'd go to all of them. Heck, I'm happy with staying home watching TV.
One of our best dinner dates is actually we got Chinese food and they forgot the chopsticks and we went to the park and ate it with our fingers.
I did. We were dating and I was just like, they forgot chopsticks. Oh well.
General Chicken. Try eating out with your fingers.
You liked it. Anyway, let's go. By the way, our son is in the other room hearing all of this and he's probably like, oh my God, I need bleach.
Anyway, they're basically like they start calling up foodie calls in 2019.
Foodie calls, I love
foodie calls, that's crazy. And then they're talking about like, hey, you should talk finances before you go out. So here's my take on it as a guy, and this is going to sound chauvinistic and toxic masculinity and all that jazz, but I always viewed men paying for women when you go out as sort of a litmus test for, is this guy financially going to be able to support a family?
I think that was then, but now because women are also having their careers and working, and things like that. And then plus you have the culture of dating back then was different than now. Like you used to actually know people and meet and know them in person usually, except for you and I, which we actually met online back before it was the trend. But now a lot of people just use dating apps, so they meet online because they don't really you don't get to hang with people in person unless you work with them or something else. So it wouldn't be expected just the dude to be paying for a litmus test. I think even if you're just meeting somebody, meeting someone the first time, saying I'm going to pay for mine, you pay for yours until we see if this is going to work out is fair. I think it depends what you're comfortable with.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, because I just kind of viewed it as just like from a purely biological standpoint, like from a natural standpoint. It's kind of like the male bird trying to attract a female by helping build the best nest or whatever. You know how some birds do that? They're like, oh, like my nest is better. So basically, then, I got a nice car, I got a good job, I got food.
Well, you were doing the weird dances. You didn't do the dances, so there. I
don't dance. I jiggle.
You didn't do cool fancy bird dances or anything. No,
do you want me to? I mean, is that what I gotta do?
I actually do. I want to see that. No, like
do the bird, Kneon. Do the bird.
But so many jokes. But I think nowadays, I think it's fair it's different now, and I think that it's a litmus test and stuff like that. I get what you're saying, but I also understand why people might be comfortable if they make plans ahead of time. But you always have to discuss this ahead of time. You can't just go in there expect them to pay for everything like that lady did, or if you're going to eat a lot or something. You need to be fair and balanced. But I don't think there's anything wrong with women paying sometimes if they want to. But I understand you wanted to pay. That's why you got mad when I did. But I didn't think it was fair. You paid for everything either.
I felt so. I'm pretty old fashioned because my grandparents
he is very old fashioned
raised me. But I just felt like it was my job as the guy to pay for the date and to pay. And
it used to be back then, but I don't think it's as much the case now as it was then. I guess it's up to you, but apparently these people are going on dates to get free food, so they're automatically expecting the other person to pay. So there's that.
Yeah, that's a problem. And I could have, honestly, I could have ferreted that out pretty quick. I would have been like, when it's like, oh, let's go to the most expensive place there is, and
I'm not like that.
I feel like, if you don't like me when we're eating McDonald's, I don't want to be with you.
I'm not exactly super high maintenance to begin with. Emotionally high maintenance, but not like financially high maintenance. And I remember it was funny because Neon's mom and uncle had a bet going on whether or not you could keep me because your mom thought I was high maintenance when I wasn't.
Yeah.
His uncle won.
Yeah, my uncle actually bet on me. He said, R.I.P.
I'm not high maintenance. Yeah. Anyway, back to this.
Anyway, let's talk about Verizon executive having a hot take here. Verizon executive tells unemployed Gen Z they can always volunteer to stand out in the current bleak job market. No one's going to say no to free work.
Okay, I get what they're trying to say. They're trying to say, hey, go volunteer because at least you're in their face. They used to tell us this. Okay, when I was out in LA for a while. And they would tell us for doing extra, we were doing working for extras. If you can get in there and be noticed by taking on extra jobs or not just extra, you know what I'm saying? They helping out some way so they stand out. It might lead you to other things, but a lot of times it doesn't. I know with substitute teaching, they won't hire subs because then they won't have the people that they want to sub because they're really good subs. So if you go in there work for free and they know you'll work for free, then they're just going to be more than happy to keep you working for free. I know ultimately they're saying the idea is they'll hire you. But that doesn't mean they will.
See also Disney's college program where they
do hire
full
a lot
advantage
of
the
I know they do hire the interns, and I'm not saying they won't hire you if you volunteer. Yeah. But I'm saying if it's a volunteer position that was already a volunteer position, maybe. But I think this kind of shit. We're not going to hire you, but if you want to come and volunteer and do free work and not get paid to do free work, well, it might work that we might hire you later. I'm like, well, if you won't hire them now, why would them doing free work mean you hire them? It's like you're getting a free road test or something. It's like you're test driving them before you see if they can do the job and hire them.
Kind of like the dinner date, right?
Kinda. I think it's really crappy. And this is Verizon. This is a Verizon person telling
this is Verizon. Yeah. So this is interesting because our son has been talking about this. He said that Gen Z is having a hard time because they want all this experience, but there's no way you could possibly have that experience. And then you throw in the pandemic when a lot of businesses were shut down. How the hell are these kids supposed to have experience?
Yeah, that's true. Even jobs that are entry level, they're like, we need 3 years experience. Well, how am I supposed to get experience when they're all saying I have to have experience?
Right. So it said young millennials and Gen Z are having a hard time breaking into the world of work. This is coming from where? Fortune. Millions are unemployed. Many are questioning whether their expensive college degree was pointless, and they're quickly realizing in today's economy you need work experience to get experience. That's
See, also gig work, because that's experience.
That's where Verizon's chief talent officer, Christina Schelling, had some advice. Stop thinking you need to have something snazzy on your resume to catch the attention of prospective employers. The work experience piece doesn't always have to be traditional and paid. You know, you could do volunteer work that builds skills and also builds your resume. I always tell people,
a lot of companies aren't going to let you just volunteer, because then that means they're going to have you, like, if you're in the building and working,
your
and
liability.
there's different things that you have to have on your employees, like insurance or whatever. Then even if you're volunteering, they're still going to have to pay something for you to be there.
This whole thing is basically
how to get free work out of
how
Gen
to get
Z.
free work from Gen Z. Yeah, I don't agree with this.
As a parent, I'm like, don't.
As an employer, don't, because my feeling on this, and look, the sense of entitlement can run both ways. And I've had people before volunteer time or volunteer this or volunteer that, or, hey, I'll do you whatever. And then they want to phone in a favor later. Right.
Well,
I'd rather have it just be transactional.
I can see that phoning in a favor, because you volunteered. But
if you so if you volunteer, and yeah, thanks for volunteering, whatever, but it didn't really help me very much, and I'm not gonna have a position for you, you still feel obligated to give this person a job, even if you know that it's not going to work out, you can't afford it, whatever, and they will phone in the favor, and then they'll be all pissy if you don't get, you know what I'm saying? So I personally, as an employer, I would rather things be transactional. We had this happen with, we had different, freelance writers on our website and stuff. We've had people offer to volunteer articles, and I wouldn't do it because I'm like, I don't want to take
advantage of people.
No, I think it's taking advantage of people, but I also
don't think it's right.
I also want it to be transactional. I want people to realize, like, I'm paying you for this service. I
would never do that to somebody either. I wouldn't take advantage of them like that.
No.
That's crap. But if you're going to volunteer to do this work anyway, do your own thing. Because, start your own business, because your own thing you want to do. Because if you're going to do it for free, if you're going to go in and work hours when you could be out there finding a job that'll pay you, start your own thing. Because at that point, you're not getting paid that. At least then you might have a way of getting paid. You might, get some clients built up and you can make your own way, or go out and do gig work or something like that, which sucks. I know, but like Uber Eats or something like that, or Uber or whatever. Something like that you can do to make some money in the interim. But the volunteer thing, I know what they're trying to say. They're trying to say, if we can see that you can work and you can do the work, we'll hire you. But I don't think that always translates that. Because again, as substitute teaching, we had substitute teachers that worked there that were phenomenal teachers. But because if they were be hired full time, they wouldn't have any good subs. They wouldn't hire the subs. Now, they were getting paid to work, but they were never going to get a full-time job, even though they were under the impression they would if they could prove they were good, because they want to keep you where they think they need you the most. So I don't think this is a good idea.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
That's just not fair.
It's just not fair. It's like the purpose of work. I mean, I know people are like, well, I get my life fulfillment out of it. It's like, bitch, the purpose of work is to do something of value to somebody else so you get paid for it so you can feed yourself. That is the purpose of work. And you need to learn that. And I think people should be incentivized to do the best job they can do. And how you incentivize people to do the best job they can do is you give them money. That's how it works.
Right. Or like I said, if you're going to do it for free anyway, do your own thing, because at least then you're building something that's yours. And if you can build it up, you could sell it or whatever.
Yeah, I would recommend that. So this is kind of bullshit. This is coming from the Telegraph. This is 6 ways Gen Z are ruining the workplace for everyone else, and they keep changing the names of these people. I don't know if these people actually exist, but they're saying that Gen Z dodges phone calls.
Well, I do too.
Want to answer the phone.
I don't answer the phone either. I don't like talking on the phone. True story. Kneon makes most of the phone calls because I literally have like a phobia of talking on the phone, unless it's to somebody I know.
I've had jobs where most of my job was basically just picking up the phone and talking to people.
Yeah, it doesn't bother him. Bothers me.
It doesn't faze me at all. Actually, I can be I can read phone calls better than I can read in person chats, I think, sometimes. And I can usually tell, like, if a person's interested or not interested, or if they're trying to bullshit me within like 2 minutes. Like, yep. Anyway, demanding safe space workplaces. This is very tropey, isn't it? Basically, we don't want stress and anxiety in the workplace. Do not work for me. I will give you nothing but stress and anxiety.
Try being married to him. Anyways.
Oh, yeah. You would have loved
you.
Hey, I ran all the jobs I've worked at. I've run things with a pretty tight iron fist.
He tries, but I don't.
Clenched,
I'm not easily
clenched
controlled.
cheeks. Yeah, and I don't realize how I come across to people. Like to me, it's just like I'm completely like unemotional about it, just like get it done. Like I don't fucking care how you do it, just get it done. And people are like, but that hurt my feelings. I'm like, go find another job, I guess. And then they get all, then HR gets involved.
Well, back to this. We're talking about mental health. Now, to be fair, mental health has been disregarded a lot, and I don't think that's right. But they're saying that that people they'll get upset because they have stress, anxiety, and they don't want to work because it's making them stressed. Unfortunately, the workplace is going to be full of stress and anxiety. I don't think that I'm just telling you. However, that being said, this younger generation, it probably is harder for them because, when they're in school and they're trying to push it even more so. When I worked at the public school, like kids wouldn't do their work and they'd be like, okay, well, we'll give you extra time. And it was like all catered to them. They never had to actually learn to be prepared for this. So, when you go from being coddled in school and stuff for years, and unfortunately, a lot of Gen X parents have been coddlers. We're guilty of it too, probably.
Yeah.
Then you get thrown into the workplace, and then they're like, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. It is going to cause stress and anxiety, and they're not necessarily equipped to handle it as well as generations prior. Because you have generations that went to war when they were like 18 years old.
That's the huge difference. I mean, even us, even Gen X. I mean, we're like, oh, poor us, the latchkey kids. I'm like, well, at least we're getting shot in Vietnam.
No, and we had to be self-reliant, and and now we're coming into generations that were more and more not self-reliant, and now schools are being ridiculous. They were trying to pass things that they can give you unlimited attempts to take tests and do assignments, and I'm like, well, that's stupid, and going to teach kids nothing. There's no consequences. But you're going into these lax environments, and then what happens is when you get thrown into something it's hard, you have to have this done by this time.
Yeah.
Like college, and not all colleges, but like some of the colleges that actually stick to deadlines and stuff, it's hard for students, and they're like, oh my God, this is impossibly hard. I have to write a 3-page paper in like 5 days. I'm like, bitch, I do that daily. You know? I'm like, basically.
So yeah, I don't know, guys. It's just like everything's just like everything's wild. I would not want to be a young person today. Wearing headphones, dressing down. This is all like fixing on wellness and woke causes. This is why a lot of Gen Z just aren't getting hired anyway, because I think people make the assumption that they're going to be woke activists.
Again, this is all just really generalized, because I can tell you for a fact, like a lot of these things that they're mentioning, the ones I know, the people I know that are Gen Z, don't do this stuff at work.
No.
Walk in late, early, come in late, walk out early, fixating on these things, wearing the headphones because it's canceling. Like some jobs allow you. And I know some people, and you're one of them, if you have music going on, you can focus on your tasks better. It distracts me. But like I know for you, you'll put music on so you can focus better. I know our kids will put music on so they can focus better. It's not necessarily an issue of I'm doing this to nope out. Sometimes it's actually for a focus. It helps you.
It's really weird because I mentioned before that I used to be a DJ and I used to work for a radio station. I did marketing actually for a radio station.
You did a lot of jobs.
I've done a lot of things. But I did marketing for radio station. People are like, how's the timeline line up? It's because I usually was doing like 2 or 3 jobs at one time. There was overlap between all the stuff. Plus, gig economy. But yeah, so I worked for Clear Channel Radio for a while, and I was a DJ for another radio station, but they always had the music playing. They always had the rock music playing. So I just kind of like, I'm kind of like Johnny Fever, where I have to have, like, if I'm really going to hunker down on something, it's like, okay, just put on the Pink Floyd, put on Led Zeppelin.
Well, that's just it. I think a lot of these younger people, like, they let them have earbuds and stuff at school for like during study halls and stuff like that when I was teaching. I think it's just a matter of, you need that background noise to focus. Like, I'll run a TV, but I won't run music. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it actually relaxes me, especially if it's like a favorite album. And then I kind of get into the rhythm, especially if it's like a faster paced something. Like if I'm drawing, especially, I have to be listening to something. I cannot just sit there because all I hear is scratch, 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 scrit, 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 erase, erase, erase. It's like, no, that's lame. I need to hear the music.
I'm sorry. I'm reading the wellness and woke causes. Okay, see, these are examples that are ridiculous. She was confronted by a Gen Z colleague after printing out 6-word document, and she marched up and said, "Do you know how many trees you just killed? Their blood is on your hands." Well, one, trees don't have blood, so I'm not buying this. I don't think anybody's. Do I think that there's people that will make these idiotic comments? Yes, I've seen it. Do I think that one's true? I question that story.
Yeah.
They said the progressive views and lifestyle choices. They said, I remember getting a tiresome lecture from a young colleague about the green benefits of plant-based diet. Well, it's no different than that we had the vegans, for years, like everything was vegan. You had to be vegan. And, then you just eat meat in front of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that anybody's vegan. 'Cause my cousin's vegan.
Delicious cow flesh.
I tried
smothered in A1 sauce.
I tried being a vegetarian, and I just got sick because I just couldn't do it. But
He just went outside, grabbed a squirrel.
no, I did not. I would not. I grabbed the squirrel, yes, to pet it, and I'd give it a little nut and say, "On your way, little friend."
Pet it with butter.
I would. I would not pet it. With
Oh,
butter.
okay, I'm brushing its hair.
My dad's family was poor, so they used to actually eat rabbits and squirrels and stuff like that. So, yeah, back when he was a kid, they really had to fend for themselves.
Yeah.
But do I think this happens in cases? Yes, I do think that some of this stuff happens. Do I think it's happening to the levels that they're saying it's happening? No. And my next thing is, if you're Gen Z and don't go walking up to somebody and lecture them on water bottles and idiot stuff like that at work. That's not your job. I mean, if they have mandates about not wearing headphones, then don't,
Yeah.
Don't go in late and come and leave early, obviously, all the time. I mean, sometimes it's unavoidable, but this is just common sense stuff. And I think they're exaggerating it quite a bit, I think.
Yeah. No, I think so. I think it's very tropey. It's very tropey because, headlines.
It's like every generation thinks that the younger generation acts like this. We got accused of similar things with Gen X.
Yeah.
Some of them are true.
Yeah, we're all slacktivists, and that's why nobody remembers who we are.
I've never been a slacker. I have always busted my ass.
Latchkey kid, yeah.
Yeah.
Left our own devices outside for hours on end. Yeah. Yeah, if you didn't come back within 72 hours, they just thought maybe you got, taken in a van or something.
It wasn't that bad. Usually you have to be home after dark or whatever. But, it's just every generation's going to have things the other generation's going to be, and then the next generation's going to come up, and then Gen Z is going to be like, oh, these alphas.
They already are. They already are.
Well, the alphas are really annoying. No offense to alphas, but I had no teachers who quit their jobs because they didn't want to be teachers over alphas anymore.
Oh, my God.
They said it's impossible. They can't read. They don't want to pay attention. They're so pickled from the internet and COVID. They're just like, I can't. So they quit.
It's our future, guys. That's the future.
They're going to be taking care of you.
All right. We're going to wrap this up.
President that speaks in memes. Anyway.
Oh, my God. Well, we already have one of those.
I like a younger one, but yeah. Okay. Right. Okay.
So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.
For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com.